Welcome back to our weekly market wrap-up. Indian equity markets ended higher for the week as robust GDP and PMI data along with sweeping GST cuts lifted sentiment across sectors. So stay tuned, and by the end of this video we will unpack the key drivers behind these movements and what lies ahead. This week, the Sensex rose 880 points up 1.1% to close at 80,700, while the Nifty gained 292 points up 1.2% to end at 24,700. The rally was supported by upbeat GDP data, stronger PMI readings and optimism around GST reforms that fueled hopes of higher consumption. The broader markets, however, were mixed, as the BSE mid-cap slipped 0.1% to 45,459, while the small-cap index edged higher by 0.09% to 52,752, signaling selective participation. Markets kicked off the week with a sharp rebound on Monday, snapping a three-day losing streak as GDP growth boosted confidence. Tuesday saw some profit booking, but gains returned midweek with robust services PMI data reigniting momentum. Thursday's session added further support with GST cuts fueling optimism, and despite a flat close on Friday, benchmarks held above key levels reflecting steady sentiment. So stay tuned as we break down the key factors behind this turnaround and explore what could drive the markets in the coming week. Let's take a look at this week's key economic updates. In India, GDP grew 7.8% in the April to June quarter, which is the fastest pace in 5 quarters and higher than the 7.4% seen in the previous quarter. Gross value added rose 7.6% versus 6.8% earlier, highlighting strong underlying activity. On the activity front, the HSBC India manufacturing PMI improved to 59.3 in August, from 59.1 in July, supported by higher output growth. Services PMI surged to 62.9, its steepest expansion since June 2010, aided by robust demand and efficiency gains. The composite PMI output index climbed to 63.2, which is the sharpest pace of expansion in over 17 years. Government data showed GST collections at 1.86 trillion rupees in August, up 6.5% year-on-year, underscoring strong consumption trends. Among this week's top gainers, Netweb Technologies soared 37.5% to a 10-year high on strong volumes after securing fresh order wins that boosted sentiment. Gujarat Mineral rallied 22.6% on the back of an incentive scheme announcement, with strong buying interest driving the stock to a decade high. Saman Capital gained 16.8%, supported by momentum in financials and a positive outlook on capital markets. On the downside, the top losers, Vardhman Textiles, declined 9.7% amid weak sentiment in the textiles space, with concerns over demand and pricing pressures. Honeywell Automation slipped 9.3% on profit booking and muted near-term triggers, despite strong long-term fundamentals. Intellect Design Arena dropped 7.1% as weakness in IT services and selective selling in mid-cap tech stocks weighed on valuations. In the unlisted space this week, momentum in the unlisted space stayed strong this week, driven by IPO approvals, strategic orders, and shareholder rewards. Greenzo secured a major order from Jindal Stainless to set up a 472-ton green hydrogen plant in Odisha, marking a significant step in India's clean energy transition. SEBI approved the IPO of boat parent Imagine Marketing, which is eyeing a valuation of around 13,000 crore rupees, signaling strong investor appetite for consumer electronics plays. IPO-bound OIO is set to consider a 1:1 bonus share issue at its upcoming AGM ahead of its planned listing. Unlisted companies where interest levels are high include Oyo Rooms Boat, NSE MSCI, Apollo Green Energy, and Pharmacy. Get in touch for more. That wraps up this week's market highlights. Here's what to watch in the week ahead. Indian equities enter the week on supportive cues after GST slab simplification, with most mass consumption goods now in 5% and 18% brackets boosting demand. The government also plans support for exporters, while staying on track with the FY26 fiscal deficit target. On the domestic front, markets will track the Reserve Bank of India's release of bank loan and deposit growth data on September 12th, along with India's August CPI print. Primary markets will also be in focus with 3 new IPOs, Shringer House of Mangalsutra Dev Accelerator and Urban Co-opening for subscription, while shares of Amanta Healthcare are set to list. Globally, traders will watch the European Central Bank's interest rate decision on September 11th, US inflation on September 11th, and producer price data on September 10th. China's exports on September 8th and inflation on September 10th will also be closely tracked, while OPEC's monthly oil market report on September the 11th of May provide clarity on demand-supply dynamics. That's all for today. Stay connected with Tikona Capital for more insights and wealth-building opportunities from the themes of the decade. Explore more on tikonacapital.smallcase.com to know more. Don't forget to like, comment and share. See you next week.